Thank you. Thanks a lot for the invitation to talk here. Unfortunately, I don't speak Spanish or Catalan, so I could have the talk in German, but I don't think that so much of you understand German. So I will talk in English. The title of the talk is Transmediality versus Intermediality, New Forms of Storytelling. Often when I talk about transmediality, there's afterwards a discussion and saying, okay, it's an old thing, it's not really new, because also in former times there were transferring, let's say, a novel into a film or whatever. But that was covered with the notion of intermediality, and I would say that transmediality has a new quality in telling stories across multiple media platforms. So, background of this research on new forms of storytelling are the changes in the media industry in the past 20-25 years. First of all, there was the deregulation of the television market. In most of the European countries, we had until the early 80s only public service broadcasting. But then, during the 80s, deregulation took place, and there was a lot of private channels. In Germany, the deregulation was in 1984. As I know, in Spain, it was in 1988 when it was allowed to have private television channels. With the deregulation comes an increasing number of television channels in nearly every country. And a second important change was the introduction of satellite technology. On an industrial level, it was introduced in the 60s. In 1964, the Olympic Games in Tokyo was the first Olympic Games transmitted by satellite through all over the world. But with a very old technology. But in the 80s, when we have also this kind of deregulation, satellite technology came to the homes of the people, that you can get a satellite receiver and watch TV programs from nearly all over the world if you have the possibilities at home. And the third important change was digitalization that took mainly place in the 90s. And with digitalization, we have digital platforms for broadcasting, we have digital platforms or digital portals where you can watch audiovisual material by streaming or by downloading it. And with this digitalization, there's also an increase of numbers of TV channels. In my hotel here in Barcelona, I can have 58 different television channels. The most important for me is Barca TV, but there are some consequences of these three important changes. One is increasing demand for content. So the more channels you have, they want to air 24 hours, 7 days a week. You need a lot of content for that. So if you are studying audiovisual media, you may be lucky because in times of increasing demand for content, you will all get a job. But there were two other consequences. One was the convergence of production. Means that different technical outcomes converge to one, and you can produce 4 different outcomes. And the second was the convergence of consumption. So that means that you, as part of an audience, you're always looking for your content you want to see in nearly every platform you can get, not only on television. For me in Germany, it's not possible anymore to watch the matches of Barca on television, so I have to go to the internet because there is a web channel that transmitted all matches of odds, but not only Barca but also Real. So from the Spanish League, Primera División. So what is meant by the notion of convergence culture? In 1996, in 2006, there was this famous book by Henry Jenkins on convergence culture. Everyone is referring to that book, but in a way you have to go some steps further than he did it in his book. Mainly by convergence is meant the blurring boundaries between different media regarding technology, economy, content, and aesthetics. And in the past it was mainly discussed only in referring to technology, so that you have a kind of convergence of, for example, television and the internet. But it's also important in terms of economy, in terms of content, and also in terms of aesthetics. So, and one part of this is the integration of traditional media and telecommunication. So if you're talking on it in terms of industry, you have the traditional media industry on the one side, and on the other side you have the telecommunication industry, where actors like Vodafone or Orange or whatever are important. And now, in these times of convergence, digitalization, these two kinds of media converge. So traditional television channels need telecommunication to distribute their content, and also traditional telecommunication industry is looking for content to fill their channels that they have, and that's distribution channels that they have. So Stephen Keen wrote in 2007 that you can see convergent as the extending of the commercial range of any particular TV show through its connection with other outlets, the ultimate goal being that of the same branded content played out across multiple media and got more revenues, we can add. This is the economic reason for convergent distribution. And he makes a differentiation between internal and external convergence. He says internal convergence is on the level of text production, and external convergence is on the level of distribution and consumption. So you have, in a way, in this sense, a double convergence, one on the side of the production and one on the side of the distribution and consumption. And Jenkins puts it more from the point of the audience. He says, by convergence, I mean the flow of content across multiple media platforms, the cooperation between multiple media industries, and the migratory behavior of media audiences who will go almost anywhere in search of the kinds of entertainment experiences they want. And hereby they are following their interests and needs. So, in the past, there were big discussions of the notion of intermediality, especially in the humanities. And there's a double meaning of intermediality. One is related to the combination of different media. So intermediality in a way means the use of different media to create a single text. So for example, if you are using written text in a film or in a TV show, this is a kind of intermediality. Or if you use in a hypertext some kind of audiovisual material, it's also a kind of intermediality. And the second meaning of intermediality is the change of media. So it's the adaptation of a text into another medium. For example, the filmic adaptation of a novel or several others. First you have a novel, and you transfer it to a movie or film, and then you transfer that film again to a radio drama, and then maybe you transfer it also to a comic, to a graphic novel. So, but it's a kind of transferring one single text into another single text in another medium. And it's always the same text. And one notion of intermediality is that any medium and also any media text is defined by its relation to other media or media text. So an adaptation of a novel into a film, then you can say that this film is part of what you can call an intertextual universe, where it's strongly related to its basic, the novel, but it's also related to other novels, because the novel has relations to all these other kinds of text. And this, to talk about intermediality, it's necessary to make a differentiation between different media. That's one condition for that. So what we have is a kind of intermediate relations between different texts and different media. There's this notion of intertextuality, where you have a strong relation between a single text and other single texts. And what we also have is a development, it's hybridization, meaning that normally texts like films or TV shows belong to a specific genre, or they are fictional or non-fictional, and hybridization means that these conventions are mixed together, so that you have texts that belong to 2 or 3 genres because these genre conventions are mixed, or that you add different genre elements to a text so that this can be seen from different genre levels and frames. Transmediality, in contrast, means that the story is systematically told on several media. And important is here the notion of systematical. So it's not by chance because someone was thinking about, oh, it's an interesting novel, let's make a film out of it. This is that you are sitting there, and if you are creating a story, you are always thinking about on what different kinds of multi-platform levels can I distribute this, and what can I do differently on every level. So in the transmedia world, different media platforms work together, for example TV serials, graphic novels, video games, web series, and so on. And to, in a way, produce a content as a kind of global brand. Because in this new world, new transmedia world, the notion of genre is still important, but more important is that you create stories as a brand, and you can distribute this brand nearly all over the world in this global market. And if you have the global brand, you have also this global look of a text, of a show, so that you, wherever you are in the world, you know this is the global brand, the text I refer to. For example, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire has been sold in more than 80 countries all over the world, but the music, the look, and so on is the same all over the world. So in a way, transmedia storytelling could highlight some intermediate relation, but in the end it is more than that. So because it's created systematically, and to be clear when we go to some examples. Jenkins wrote that a transmedia story unfolds across multiple media platforms, with each new text making a distinctive and valuable contribution to the whole. In the ideal form of transmedia storytelling, each medium does what it does best. And so, if you try to create a story on, that should be distributed on different media platforms, it's necessary that there's a mediation between the discourses of the industry and the audiences. And that leads to a new aesthetics of transmedia storytelling. because you have to think about aesthetically different presentations of the same content in the various individual media. And because every single medium has its own aesthetic conventions and limitations also, so that you have to think about all of that. And the more you are going on these multiple platform outlets, the more you have to think about audiences and what audiences need. So there's new development at the moment mainly in the film industry, not so much in television, but it also started. And in the culture industry, that's this kind of crowdfunding and crowdfinancing, where people try to finance or make up their budget for their film by collecting money from the audiences. And here is also a notion important, it's called fan dependence. So that producers of content, of audiovisual content, becomes more and more dependent of the audiences, because that's the only way to finance it, besides public service broadcasting. Public service broadcasting has enough money to produce things and don't think about multi-platform distribution. So you can say that transmedia storytelling is a process in which integral parts of a story or TV show are distributed systematically on different ways of distribution to create a unique entertainment experience. And we are talking here about entertainment and fiction and not about journalism. That's also important, because journalism follows different kinds of rules. But on the other hand, the whole dynamic in the global media market derives from the entertainment industry, not from journalism, even if most of the journalists think that they are important. And if you want to create a story as a kind of global branded content, it is important to create coherent and plausible worlds where the aesthetic design is becoming more and more important, because not the content differentiates between different single texts, the aesthetic is a differentiation. So, for example, if you create a transmedia story, characters are not completely introduced in one single medium, for example. So you can create a television show, and you can add to the television show some kind of content in the web. And in the web, you have biographies of the characters of the TV show. So everyone can read the biographies and the history of the characters in the internet. And it's not necessary then to show this history in the TV show anymore. And so you have two kinds of different media that work together in a way. Because to understand the story of a TV show, of a TV series, for example, it's important to know the characters, because otherwise you are not able to feel with them or whatever, to follow their motivations or so on. So in a way, the mode of reception is a kind of additive understanding, because you have to watch the different single media outlets and add every understanding together to get the whole in the end. So Murray in 1999, her book on Hamlet on the holodeck, said that we are all navigational viewers and we are discovering multiple arrangements of the same material in a way. And that's our reception or appropriation experience in a multimedia world. So transmedia stories are becoming global or local brands. And the spectator or viewer has knowledge of these transmedia stories and also this kind of prefigurative material, as Daniel Mears from Ghent called it once. This prefigurative material is, for example, trailers that you can watch on the web. you have trailers, maybe also trailers in the television. You have fan signs, you have merchandising articles, you have graphic novels, you have factual books, you have documentaries, you have print media, and so on. And also, what is a little bit underestimated in media research at the moment is the role of DVD and the add-ons on DVD, where you have making-ofs, audio commentary, and so on. And no one really knows how this is influencing the reception of the movie on the DVD. Transmedia narratives has to be created as branded content. And here are some examples like Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, Lost, 24, X-Men, Dexter, Monk, so mainly movies and TV shows. And this kind of branded content generates kind of sufficient emotional involvement of the consumers. Because if you want to follow all the different media outlets of the same content, you have to be more involved in every single platform than you have to be when you are only watching a film or so. And there are different kinds of transmedia storytelling at the moment. One is the web extension of a TV series, and I wish, I don't know if you all know the TV show Monk? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know. Okay. There's also a kind of small series in the web called Little Monk, where Monk in his childhood is shown and people watch a short piece of that.
Watch the new US web series Little Monk. See your favorite obsessive detective when he was, well, little this week.
My name's Brian.
The new kid in school has a lot to learn about Little Monk. Watch Little Monk at littlemonk.usnetwork.com. Presented by Sleepin. Discover the details that let you rest easy every time.
So there you can see Monk as a child, and you can see where he gets all his neurosis from. The next example is a web spin-off of a TV series. The original show is Dr. House, you may know it, and the web series that was a spin-off of Dr. House was Nurse Jeffrey. And after the web series, they made a real TV series out of Nurse Jeffrey. It's now going into its second season, I think. And we will also have a look at Nurse Jeffrey.
Today is the day. I have 1 minute to check out houses in office. The Holy Grail. Or the Jewish one. What is it? The Ark of the Covenant? Whatever you would call it. Don't empty that.
You gonna empty it?
Nope. I am going to rifle through the house's trash to see if I can find anything that would get him in trouble.
That's what you're gonna use your men for.
If there's a condom in here, I'll just screw him in.
40.
You know, there are other gay people in this hospital. Maybe Foreman.
Dr. Foreman's not gay, I can tell you that.
He turned you down? You poor thing.
No,
Now come on, help me get into his desk.
I don't have the key.
But you know how to jimmy it open.
I was a lit major at Temple University, not a thief.
Oh yeah? How much you get for your last short story? Now, come on, I'll give you an extra $100 if you help me get into his desk, Hold the phone. Hello? Dumpling.
Jeffrey.
Hi, Dr. Cody.
What are you doing in House's office?
I'm just helping Drew.
Right, because that's what nurses do on their free time, help maintenance. Give me the camera.
It's not on.
Give me the camera. Put everything back exactly as you found it and meet me in HR.
How did I tell you this was going to end? I presented my case to HR. Abuse of hospital equipment for personal reasons, blatant sexual harassment, blackmailing doctors. I got a 6-week suspension without pay. The good and decent get punished, and the wicked get massages and sex from hookers. Welcome to Princeton Plainsboro.
The third example I would like to show is Dexter. Dexter is in, let's say, the foreground of a TV series, but in the end it's a kind of multi-platform story, and I will show you also a promo video of the production company with all the different media outlets of Dexter.
Wherever fans are, on interactive TV, mobile devices, social networks, YouTube, or SHO.com, Showtime has provided a way to extend the Dexter viewing experience and relaunch new possibilities for cross-platform storytelling and achievement in interactive media. First, Dexter Early Cuts is an original animated webisode series featuring the work of noted industry illustrators and the voice of series star Michael C. Hall.
This is so much more fun.
The web prequel chronicles 3 early Dexter murders, dating back more than 10 years before the series begins. With over 2 million views across over 300 partner sites, the 12-chapter series developed a dedicated audience, eager to see their favorite killer in an all-new way. Dexter's Follow the Code was a 9-week online crowdsourcing game where viewers used social networks and SMS messaging to work together to locate clues from each episode to reveal exclusive online photos and video. During 1 week of the game, alert Dexter viewers dialed a phone number for a real estate agency featured in the episode, only to uncover a voicemail clue that helped fans ultimately access a hidden clip from the season's dramatic finale. In addition to SMS text games, mobile users could actually play the role of Dexter in a 3D virtual reality adventure. More than 60,000 fans to date have downloaded this Dexter mobile experience for the iPhone, which allows users the chance to analyze crime scenes and administer Dexter's dark brand of justice. Showtime also pushed the Dexter experience out to fan communities, including Twitter, Facebook, and the Fan Wiki. With 1.4 million fans, the Dexter Facebook page is currently the largest fan community for any premium network series. In addition, over 100,000 Facebook users were Dexterized by friends, with a bloody splash across a user's profile page, a special Halloween treat from Dexter. YouTube, the largest video destination on the web, was home to Where's Dexter, an interactive game where online viewers search and click to locate Dexter in a series of crowded public scenes. The 4-level game was viewed nearly 1 million times and marked the first time an entertainment network had utilized YouTube's unique annotation technology for a game. Viewers who wanted to interact with Dexter directly on the TV could check out Showtime's breakthrough interactive TV applications. With Dexter TV Hacker, viewers on DirecTV could bring up a widget and fool their friends with a simulated slash cut into the TV screen. Through the Showtime TV widget for internet-connected sets, Fans can access Dexter behind-the-scenes videos, interactive polls, and trivia. Among the first apps to be featured in these state-of-the-art televisions, the Showtime TV widget also gives viewers the chance to watch a free sample episode of Dexter. The culmination of the digital media efforts for Dexter came with the season finale, when viewers were prompted to visit the site to watch a special web-only extended interview with Michael C. Hall and John Lithor, and post personal reactions to the chilling finale.
Boy, was that funny.
Additionally, more than 50,000 Dexter fans participated in a pair of live, interactive video webcasts using Facebook, Twitter, Ustream, or text messaging to ask questions of Dexter executive producer Clyde Phillips and guest star John Lithgow.
I was completely on the edge of my seat, waiting for the next detail.
For the award-winning fourth season of Dexter, Showtime has extended the audience experience across multiple. The 1 hour a week Dexter is on air.
Another example of this kind of transmedia TV shows is Lost. We have a graphic of the Lost experience, if you want to say. You have the traditional TV show, you have DVD editions, you have merchandise, toys, and so on. You have an official website, you have a video game, you have sponsoring joint ventures, you have a so-called Lostpedia, you have another episode, you have Lost Missing Pieces, you have an alternative reality game with the Lost experience, and also Find Flight 814. So around this branded content of Lost, there are a lot of different kinds of outlets, and you can say there are several kinds of media systems that are used to create this multiple platform experience Lost. There are emails, podcasts, by phone, chats, video clips, print, websites, social networks, voicemail, and so on. And you have seen the same in the trailer for promotional trailer for Dexter. One of the main events in Lost was the launch of the website hansefoundation.org in May 2006, where they created products that you can then buy, for example, in reality, and are related to the show. So, in a way, we can say that the Lost franchise is paradigmatic for Convergence TV's effort to create crossover products with both cult and blockbuster status, and to create crossover involvement and engagement of fans and audience. So, and this is, in a way, the main goal at the moment of every kind of TV producer, to do this kind of franchising of a show and to distribute the content on transmedia platforms in a way. So, Jenkins also wrote about that more and more storytelling has become the art of world building, as artists create compelling environments that cannot be fully explored or exhausted within a single word or even a single video. So, if you look at Dexter or at Lost, it is a kind of world building, and there's a specific aesthetic in this kind of world building, and this aesthetic is distributed on this several platforms, so that on any platform where you are, you can, by the first sight, see, okay, so this content. So, to come to an end, I would say, in a way, more and more fans and audience become part of corporate marketing strategies for transmedia stories and multi-platform economic strategies for branded content. So the old notion what is there in a lot of books and research in cultural psychological studies that there's a resistance of the audience, and so in a transmedia world, in multi-platform media environments, there's only little resistance, there's only a resistance maybe on an individual level, but in the end, we as consumers are all part of the creation of marketing strategies and economic strategies. And on the other hand, the concept of reverse product placement, creating fictional brands and institutions with spillover potential within the primary brand content, serves to increase audience involvement and also fan activities. So, in a way, we are all part of the industry, even if you only watch. And within Jenkins has called this kind of effective economy, and he said within the effective economics of the Lost franchise, for example, RLGs such as Lost experience mark a central contact point between corporate marketing, merchandising, and online fan activities. So in the end, fans and audience are indeed a mirror of consumption, as Konrad in his famous book on fandom puts it, but in times of convergence culture, they serve also as symbolic and economic resource to the extent of the commercial range of any branded media content. And there has to be much more research on this kind, what I would call the political economy of fandom, for example. And there are also a lot of challenges by these developments of transmedia storytelling, multimedia worlds, multimedia environments, and so on. One is in media studies, we are often dealing with the analysis of a single text, for example, a movie or so. But how can we capture a single discrete text in this multimedia world? That can be an object of our analysis. For example, only to analyze, let's say, the TV show of Lost is not getting close to the phenomenon of Lost. So we have to do more than that. And we have to develop methodologies or strategies for research to cover these things. Or how can we capture an audience? In the old days, it was very easy to say television audience is the people that are watching TV. But what is the audience in this case of Lost, for example, or of Dexter? Are that this, as it was mentioned in the Dexter video, this 1.2 million Facebook fans of Dexter? Are they all watching the TV show also? We don't know. So, and what does any kind of audiences get out of any kind of different media outlet? It's also not very clear. So there has to be a lot of research more. I would say they are still single discrete texts, but they are part of an intertextual universe and of transmedia narratives. So we have to find a way to deal with that. Audiences are looking at any platform for content that is able to entertain or inform. So when I'm at home, I watch TV normally, but at the same time, when I watch TV, I'm looking at my laptop on the latest news. And when I'm in the hotel, I'm going to my smartphone and watch there some audiovisual content also. We are always interested in the same things. For example, if you want to watch the matches of Barca, you try to do that at any single medium you can get and where you can get these matches. And because it's so, there's increasing meaning of individual media repertoires. So there's some research done on these media repertoires, but that means how important are the different media outlets in the everyday life of the users or audiences? How do they work together, or are they not working together? There's also very few research on this increasing number of TV channels. How many channels do you use, for example? It is said that most of the people are only using 7 channels, even if there are 100 or 2,000. They're only watching 7. And therefore it's important to look at these kind of media habits, let's say, that every individual has, and if there are commonalities in these kinds of media habits. Another point for research is this kind of additive understanding of stories. So you have to look what is told in one single media outlet and what is told in another outlet, and what is the meaning of the text if I combine these 2 outlets and the meaning, and what you can understand by that. For example, a few years ago we did the research on the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and we did some focus groups and divided the focus groups in some who read first the book and then saw the films, in a group that first saw the films and then read the book, and a group that first played the Lord of the Rings computer game and then watched the film. And it came out that the video gamers has little understanding of the story of Lord of the Rings, even when they watch the films. The literate people who first have read the books discussed all the story of the films in detail and what is missing from the books. And the ones who first watched the films have, in a way, a better understanding of the special effects and this aesthetic parts of Lord of the Rings than the ones that first read the book. So in a way, what you are doing, you have a different kind of understanding or getting to text, whether it's a film or TV show or whatever. And there has also to be much more research on this element. And if we do an analysis of a single text, we have to specify which materialization of a story we are referring to. So if I say, I have analyzed Dexter, I have to say, I have analyzed the TV show. Or I have analyzed the comments on Facebook. Or I have analyzed whatever. But I have to say what I have analyzed, because to say I have analyzed Dexter in this multimedia environment means, in the end, nothing. And even if I have a single text, there are different kinds of outcomes. For example, in our analysis of Lord of the Rings, we analyze the single films because a single film has to be, let's say, the whole narrative, because it has the beginning and end. You should understand what is going on only in the single film, but on the other hand, it was a trilogy. There were 3 parts. So what was the whole story of the trilogy? And how this trilogy story was developed in every single film. Then you have enhanced DVD outlets, where you have missed pieces or from the films. So maybe there's another story told. And you have to look at all these kinds of things to get close to what's could maybe the meaning of a text like that. So I would say in the future the focus of the analysis should be the relation between the different media forms of content and their aesthetic common features and differences. And because if we analyze that, we can come much more closer to the aesthetic specialities of every different medium, and also to the commonalities that every medium has, or that all the medium has in this multimedia environment. And to add, it's much more important than in the global media world to do international comparative studies, to see how all these kinds are developed in different countries. So to sum up, if we make the differentiation between intermediality and transmediality, Intermediality, you can see, is adaptation or translation of a single text from one medium to another. And as transmediality, we can see transmediality as a frame in which one story is being told systematically on different media platforms. So thanks for your attention.